Story time about when I fell into a manhole on the first date. So I was on a date with a guy that I met a few months ago at a seminar. We were texting frequently. I didn't like him much at first. I just wasn't in the mood for getting to know someone, but the more we've talked, the more I was interested because he's really smart, polite, and gentle. Finally, we decided that we should go on a date. We met during the daytime, went bowling, and had lunch together. It was really nice. The conversation was really good. We laughed a lot, and I really enjoyed every minute of that 4 to 5 hour date. Now, have you guys ever felt nervous when the first date was about to end? You just don't know how to say goodbye to them because you don't know if it's too soon for a kiss or a hug or just wave at each other and go separate ways? Well, I was really nervous and overthinking, and in those moments, while we were walking through the square, I wasn't paying attention to anyone or anything. When we got to the point where we said goodbye, he was talking about how he enjoyed the date and he's looking forward into seeing me again. I was so focused on him that I didn't even notice there was an uncovered manhole near us. I really hope he didn't notice it either. So we were just passing by the manhole when he stopped and said, "Okay, I need to go this way, blah blah blah." Now the manhole was right behind me, a step away, and I'm telling him, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna go this way," pointing with a thumb behind me. And just as I've said, "See you soon," while looking at him, I made a step back and just completely disappeared in front of his eyes in a fucking manhole. There I was in a vault, wishing he didn't just see what happened, but as I look up I see his face and he's asking me if I was okay. I got a few scratches and was covered in mud. The vault wasn't that deep, there were pipes in it and a lot of rotting leaves and mud, but at that point I just wished the ground would have opened and swallowed me because I was so embarrassed. He helped me get out of there, I thanked him, and I went home. I'm sure he's gonna ask me out again because we did enjoy the date, but I'm sure I'd feel so awkward. Story time about when I messed up by sleeping with a married woman. It started out as a normal beer with friends last Friday. We always go to the same pub to start, sometimes stay there all night. It's a cool pub which only plays heavy metal and rock music. If you're sick of chart music or pop, it's a great spot to hang out and play pool. We got there, I paid for a round of drinks for us, and we started out the night smashing Metallica and Sabbath on the jukebox. The friends I'm there with have other friends who I'm less acquainted with, but I know their faces and vaguely their names. So as we're drinking and picking songs, a few girls walk over to my pals with the usual, "Hey, how you doing?" etc. The woman I'm talking about is one of these friends and introduced herself to me. She was nice, tomboyish, quite good looking, and I had fun chatting with her. She asked me to put Bruno Mars on in this pub, and that was the first red flag. A few more drinks into the night, we get bored of the jukebox and head out to the beer garden to smoke and chat some more. I immediately noticed wherever I sat, she would pick the seat next to me and sort of lean in. She would get really close. I thought, okay, cool, she seems interested in me. Maybe this could be a good night. I told her I was staying with my buddy and his girlfriend at their place since my car was already there. She's good friends with my buddy's girlfriend, so she bagged staying over there too, and we all got a taxi back together. We got back and continued drinking and partying together. We were all really drunk and flirting was less awkward at this point. She was cuddling into me on the sofa whilst we chatted. At some point around 3 in the morning, she pulls her phone out and says, "Wonder what the hubby's up to." And I was like, "Wait, what? You have a husband?" To which she replied, "Yeah, for 10 years. This was just a stepping stone in the fuck up. I asked her to come outside and chat for a bit, saying, "What the fuck are we doing?" She explained that the relationship had been dying for years, they live separately, and it's not even a real relationship anymore. I don't know what I thought about this, but I kept the flirting up as it calmed me down a little bit about the situation. Eventually, we ended up in bed together and had sex. It was awful. I don't think we're compatible in that regard, but I tried my best nonetheless. I didn't want to be labeled a shit shag or whatever. So I wake up the next day pretty early and leave saying thanks for hanging out, etc., but I gotta get home. I thought, okay, mistake has been made, but we'll just leave it at that. After all, her marriage isn't going well and will inevitably end. And here comes the fuck up. She found and messaged me on Facebook something along the lines of, "Would gladly let you throw me around again, XXX." And I clicked on her profile. My freaking heart dropped. I instantly recognized the pictures of her husband, and they look so happy together. At least online they did. The husband is someone I used to smoke with and chill with a lot through secondhand friends. All I can say about this dude is that he's a really great person and I enjoyed his company. Sometimes he would talk about how his wife was being crazy and distant with him and it made him sad. I messed up, guys. I need to tell him, but I don't want to hurt anyone, but it's beyond that now. I followed my second head and this is where it's landed me. Story time about when I accidentally showed my private parts to a stranger. I was going on a trip on a train to the capital for work, and there I'm on my seat waiting for the time to go by and having all sorts of liquids since I was thirsty. Then, surprise, surprise, my bladder got full. It's time to pee. I go to the toilet and they had to have an intelligent toilet technology that opens with buttons. Freaking buttons. And each button indicates something. So if the button is showing a red light, it means the toilet is occupied by another person. If the light is showing green, then the toilet is empty and you're ready to go. The thing is, once you enter the toilet, you have to shut the door again with some intelligent AI technique lock from the future that really made me uncomfortable. It didn't help the fact that I'm also claustrophobic and this toilet was also small. That thing gave me anxiety, so I decided not to lock it and I was like, nope, I'm not ready to get stuck inside today. And of course, by doing that, it didn't show any lights outside. So I did my thing. I peed and it felt good. It was long. And then the minute I was about to pull up my panties and pants, the door opened. Both me and the guy are just in complete shock for like a good minute. Him just looking at me in my vajayjay naked in the frog position and me just being in disbelief. I immediately closed the door in his face and I got a panic attack inside the damn toilet. I was never more embarrassed in my life. I think I pretty much traumatized this person. Then I stayed in the toilet for some time, like a good 5 minutes, because I wasn't ready to be out in the world after the incident, knowing he may be outside waiting for me to go out. When I finally succeeded to go outside, all the passengers were looking at me in a weird way. I felt like I was in a nightmare. My mom was like, "You didn't lock the door, did you?" Story time about when I woke up to a hooded figure standing over me. Due to a multitude of factors, including a recent death of a close friend, I was unbearably depressed at this time in my life. For that reason, my family flew across the country to visit me in LA where I live. We thought it would be nice to visit Catalina Island. When we arrived, it became apparent to us that it was off-season. It was late November, the weather was cold, and as a result, the island was nearly empty besides locals and a few straggling tourists such as ourselves. Our first priority was to ditch our luggage so we could explore the island, so we immediately checked into our motel, though that word hardly does this place justice. I call it a motel because all the doors to the rooms exited to the outside, but in actuality, our room was one of 20 to 30 quaint guest house-looking buildings arranged in a sort of horseshoe shape around a walkway, with rooms on either side of the path. The entrance to the motel was essentially one of the points of the horseshoe, and if you walked dead straight, you'd reach the room that we were given, essentially on the corner before you have to go right to go further into the horseshoe. So from our room, one path led back to the street, the other further into the secluded maze of rooms. After a day of exploring and having just finished dinner, it was time for a cold, dark walk back to the room. Catalina Island is a decent distance from the mainland, and let me just say, it gets dark. Similarly dark was my headspace after the dinner conversation took a left turn and my overwhelming depression got the best of me. I pulled my black hoodie tighter over my freezing ears and walked ahead of my parents to the hotel room, telling them I just needed to go to sleep. And I did immediately. Depression sometimes makes that easy. I was already losing consciousness as they entered after me, drifting off without so much as a good night. I then woke up to my mom saying my name, a harsh whisper. The room had two beds, my parents' bed closer to the door and mine further in the room. My mom's voice cut through the silence again. She sounded concerned for me. I didn't blame her, considering my mental state at the time. Groggy, I rolled over. "What?" I asked. As my eyes adjusted to the dim moonlight coming in through the curtains, I saw her turn to face me. She was surprised to see me in my bed. Her eyes got wide. If I'm in my bed, who was she talking to? We both looked back to where she was previously looking and see a hooded figure in all black standing over their bed. In that moment, we were both frozen with fear. Part 2, when I woke up to a hooded figure standing over me. We were on an island in the middle of the ocean and woke up to see a hooded stranger looming over us. This moment seemed to last forever. Life isn't like the movies, where the characters unleash a blood-curdling scream. Sometimes the only thing that comes out is panicked and guttural. My mom's words became low and severe as she said my dad's name in a dire voice I've never heard her use before. Then the hooded figure did something so bizarre and unsettling. It didn't advance towards us, but instead crouched in the corner near where it stood. The way it crouched was so absolutely unexpected, even in regards to this already unexpected situation, that it terrified me. It seemed animalistic. I knew two things. The hooded figure had been standing over us sleeping, and it's not acting in any sort of way that I can understand. As opposed to the infinite moment of this figure standing over us mere seconds ago, the series of events that unfolded when my hulking ex-military dad woke up happened in an instant. Suddenly, we were at the door, not knowing which way the intruder went. My mom was screaming, "Get him! Get him!" My dad was running down one path of the horseshoe, further into the hotel, shouting through sheer adrenaline, "I'm going to fucking kill you!" I ran down the other path towards the street. When I got there, not a sign of the intruder, but it became suspiciously quiet behind me. I ran back to the room to find my dad quietly walking back, his head low. He gets really close to me and I hear him say, "It's a fucking kid." So basically, some young teen, tall and lanky as I am in my 20s, wearing all black including a black hoodie, went into the wrong room. Our room. The one time my parents just so happened to forget to lock the door. My mom woke up when he entered and seeing a tall person in a black hoodie thought it was me, assumedly leaving the room in a depressive episode. And when the hooded figure crouched, that was him realizing his mistake and panicking. He was scared of us. As I got back to the room, my mom walked out and hugs the kid, who was now crying his eyes out. I would be too if a massive ex-soldier was sprinting after me with murder in his eyes. Storytime about when I ghosted my boyfriend of 5 years and his friends. I at 33 was dating a guy at 39 for 5 years. After 3 years or so, we moved in together, but he was away a lot for work. He had a camp job that was 3 weeks in, 1 week home. He and I always liked to play computer games and were in a Discord with his friends. My friends also joined the Discord and everyone got along very well. Over the last year, he started getting a bit distant when he wasn't home, but I would see him online and voice chat with his friends and my friends. If I joined the chat, he would go silent. There were times we would play late at night together on the weekends, but one day he told me that he got in trouble at the camp for being too loud at night. He stopped phoning me and would only message me. Sometimes he wouldn't talk to me for a few days. 3 months ago, he wasn't online, but a few of his friends were. I popped into the chat to say hi, and someone asked where he was to someone else. The friend responded with, "Oh, he's probably with his other half. They usually spend a lot of time together at this time of day. He'll be back later." I went, "Hold the phone. What?" But I'm his girlfriend and we live together when he's not at camp. It got silent and then one of the people said, "I hate to break it to you, but he has never had a camp job. He lives in the city with his girlfriend and travels out once a week." I messaged him saying, "Hey, someone just said you have another girlfriend? What the hell?" He sent me a message saying that they were lying to me and blah blah blah. I ended up clarifying with his friend on who the other woman was. It was a girl that I played with regularly. She was a good friend or so I thought. I also casually mentioned it in voice chat with her one day. "Yeah, we've been together for 6 months, living together for 3. I know it's fast, but he's a great guy." I just laughed and said, "That's great for you." I didn't break up with him. I pretended to believe him. In the meantime, I had been looking at purchasing a house for the last year and was about to close on a deal. Our finances were completely our own, and I hadn't told him that I found one that I put an offer in for. After closing the deal, it took a month for me to receive the keys. The day I moved into the house, January 2nd, I put his things in storage, sent him a message on Discord to give him the storage details, moved into my new house, then I left the Discord and went full ghost mode with him and his friends. I also changed my phone number and deleted my Facebook. I told a few select friends about what happened and gave them my new number with instructions not to tell them anything about where I am or my new details. My friends threw me a housewarming party a few days ago. My best friend said that my ex is frantically looking for me. He has been calling all my friends and saying he's worried about me. She had told him that I knew he was cheating and that I was gone. Apparently he cried. She also went so far as to pop into the Discord with him, his friends, my friends, and the other woman to say, "Hey, did you get your stuff after she broke up with you for cheating on her?" Apparently he's single now and the other woman kicked him out and broke up with him. She also asked my friend to send me her sincerest apologies over everything. She wants my friend to give me her number so that we can talk. I'm not sure if I should, but I love my best friend. She totally had my back. Earlier this year, my friend Taylor moved in with my boyfriend Charlie and me. Taylor and I worked together and became really close friends. I introduced him to my boyfriend, and now the three of us have friends. However, I'm closer to Taylor than my boyfriend because Taylor and I have bonded over similar traumatic experiences. The other day, Charlie and I left for a weekend trip. Taylor agreed to take care of our dog while we were away, which we were happy about. Charlie and I have a security camera in our bedroom. This camera is aimed at the bedroom door and bathroom door. We have a bathroom attached to our room. Minutes after we left, we got a notification that there was motion in our room. We checked the cameras and saw Taylor just standing in our room. Over the next 30 minutes, he went in and out of our room about 7 times. It's important to know that up until this point, we have sincerely valued privacy. We never go in his room unless he states it's okay and vice versa. So we were surprised to see him just walking in on his own. The 8th time he went in our room, we saw him go over to my dresser and dig through my panty drawer. He picked out a pair of panties, pulled on his boxers and pants, put my panties on, and then his boxers and pants back on over it. A few minutes later, he returned wearing one of my tank tops when he noticed the camera. He slowly backed out of the room, but then he returned later and continued digging through my panty drawer. He returned multiple times later to dig through my panties. All of this recorded and saved on video. Seeing how he invaded our privacy and wore my underwear made me feel sick and needs to be addressed. We don't want to make Taylor feel ashamed for cross-dressing, but what he did to my clothing was disgusting. I know as soon as we get back home, I'm going to throw away all my underwear and Charlie's going to install a deadbolt to our bedroom door. We don't feel comfortable confronting him about it until we return home and are able to deadbolt the door. Would I be the asshole if I made him pay to replace all my underwear and pay for the hardware for our bedroom deadbolt? Part 2 of wanting my roommate to pay to replace my panties. Taylor also went in my nightstand to look at and handle my adult toys, and he dug through my hamper to presumably look for used underwear. When we confronted him, Taylor denied everything. Despite the fact that we had it all on video, he tried to make up different reasons why he was there, tried to downplay it, said he only came to look around, and then said he doesn't even remember entering our room. We told him he could either move out, go to therapy, or we could move out and he would have to find new roommates. He basically told us no. He said we had no authority to kick him out and that blackmailing him with the videos was illegal. Unfortunately, he was on our lease, so there wasn't much we could do without taking legal action. So we got to work. We started looking for a new place to live, started looking for a lawyer, filed a police report, and made plans to file for a restraining order. But every single day I was constantly anxious at work and fearful in my own home because it was clear that he had absolutely no remorse. After about a week with no sleep and constant fear, I finally spoke to my boss about the situation. My concerns were taken seriously and they immediately began taking steps to help me. I showed them the videos and they agreed that his actions were completely unacceptable and, due to the nature of our work, he's considered a liability and a danger to other employees. They made sure I was in a safe place before they suspended him while they investigated him. During his suspension, I met with my bosses where they continued to support me and ensure my safety. They also made plans to terminate him as he also had multiple negative performance reports. So this whole deal was a nail in his coffin. However, Taylor quit before they had the chance to fire him. The day after he quit, he got all of his crap out of the apartment and signed documents removing himself from the lease. He has not attempted to contact me since. This whole situation has been extremely emotionally draining. It has caused a lot of painful memories and emotions to resurface. Looking back on our friendship now, I can recall multiple red flags in which he crossed clear personal boundaries I set. I can't believe he was ever someone I trusted and loved like a big brother. But for now, he's out of our lives and I'm relieved. I'm still living with my parents, but I plan on moving back as soon as the apartment locks get changed.